Have you ever heard the name Vasily Arkhipov? If not, you're about to learn about the man who, quite literally, saved the world. It's a story so dramatic, it sounds like a Hollywood movie, but I assure you, it's all true. And it highlights how one person's courage and calm demeanor can change the course of history. Our story begins on October 27, 1962. The world is holding its breath. The Cuban Missile Crisis is at its peak. The United States and the Soviet Union are locked in a terrifying nuclear standoff. U.S. Navy destroyers are dropping depth charges near a Soviet submarine, the B-59, trying to force it to surface. Deep beneath the waves of the Caribbean, the crew of the B-59 is in a dire situation. The air conditioning has failed, and temperatures inside the sub have soared past 120 degrees Fahrenheit or 49 degrees Celsius. Carbon dioxide levels are dangerously high. The crew is exhausted, dehydrated, and cut off from Moscow. They haven't had contact with the outside world for days. All they know is that they are under attack. To them, it felt like World War III had already begun. The captain of the submarine, Valentin Savitsky, believed his vessel was doomed. In this moment of extreme pressure, he decided to launch their secret weapon, a nuclear torpedo. This torpedo had a yield of 15 kilotons, roughly the same power as the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Launching it would have instantly destroyed the U.S. naval group, and the American response would have been a full-scale nuclear retaliation against the Soviet Union. This would have triggered a global thermonuclear war, leading to unimaginable destruction and the end of civilization as we know it. But for that torpedo to be launched, a specific protocol had to be followed. 3 senior officers on board had to unanimously agree: the captain, the political officer, and the second in command, who was also the flotilla commander. The captain, Savitsky, gave the order to arm the torpedo. The political officer, Ivan Maslenikov, agreed. 2 out of 3. The fate of the world now rested on the decision of one man. That man was Vasily Arkhipov. And Vasily Arkhipov said no. To understand why he made this decision, we need to know more about the man himself. Vasily Alexandrovich Arkhipov was born in 1926 to a peasant family near Moscow. He was a dedicated and highly respected naval officer. He graduated from the Pacific Higher Naval School and served in the Soviet-Japanese War in 1945. He was known for his meticulous attention to detail, his bravery, and his ability to remain calm under immense pressure. This wasn't his first brush with a potential nuclear disaster. Just a year earlier, in 1961, Arkhipov was the deputy commander of the K-19 submarine, notoriously nicknamed the Widowmaker. During its maiden voyage, the submarine suffered a catastrophic failure in its reactor's cooling system. A meltdown was imminent. The crew had to improvise a repair, wading into a highly radioactive area to fix the coolant leak. Arkhipov supported the captain's decision and helped manage the crisis. 22 crew members died from radiation sickness within 2 years, and Arkhipov himself suffered from radiation exposure. This harrowing experience gave him a first-hand understanding of the horrifying consequences of nuclear technology gone wrong. It undoubtedly shaped his thinking. Now, back to the B-59 in 1962. Arkhipov, as the flotilla commander, was technically equal in rank to the submarine's captain, but he was the senior officer for the entire group of submarines sent to Cuba. He knew the Americans were dropping practice depth charges, a signal to surface. He argued against the captain's panicked decision. He reasoned that if war had already broken out, they would have received different orders or heard more definitive signs of conflict. He calmed the captain down, persuading him that they shouldn't act rashly based on incomplete information. Imagine the tension in that control room. The heat, the lack of oxygen, the rattling explosions of depth charges outside the hull. 2 senior officers are convinced they're about to die and want to launch a nuclear weapon. Arkhipov, likely remembering the horrors of the K-19, stood his ground. He was the voice of reason in a pressure cooker of fear and chaos. He argued, debated, and ultimately convinced Captain Savitsky to surface and await orders from Moscow. When the B-59 surfaced, it was met by the U.S. Navy. The Soviets had been forced to reveal their presence, but a nuclear war had been averted. They established contact with Moscow, received new orders, and eventually returned home. Upon their return, the crew was met with a less than heroic welcome. Their superiors were displeased that they had been forced to surface and reveal their mission. Some accounts say the admiral in charge told them, "It would have been better if you'd gone down with your ship." They were seen as having failed. No one knew that they had just saved the world. For decades, the story remained a secret, classified by both the U.S. and Soviet governments. The world had no idea how close it came to annihilation on that day. It wasn't until 2002, during a conference in Havana, commemorating the 40th anniversary of the crisis, that the full details came to light. Robert McNamara, who was the U.S. Secretary of Defense during the crisis, was shocked to learn that the Soviet submarines were armed with nuclear torpedoes and had the authority to launch them. He admitted, "We came very, very close to nuclear war, closer than we knew at the time." Thomas Blanton, the director of the National Security Archive, summed it up perfectly when he said, "The lesson from this is that a guy called Vasily Arkhipov saved the world." Vasily Arkhipov continued his naval career, eventually being promoted to vice admiral in 1981. He retired in the mid-1980s and lived a quiet life in a Moscow suburb. He passed away in 1998 from kidney cancer, likely a long-term consequence of his radiation exposure from the K-19 incident. He never sought fame or recognition for his actions on that fateful day. His family said he didn't like to talk about it. He was a humble man who simply did his duty as he saw it. The story of Vasily Arkhipov is more than just a historical footnote. It's a powerful reminder of the human element in moments of crisis. In an age of automated systems and complex technologies, his actions show that the judgment, courage, and humanity of a single individual can make all the difference. He wasn't a politician or a world leader, but a mid-level officer who, in the most critical moment imaginable, chose restraint over aggression, reason over fear. So the next time you think about historical heroes, think of Vasily Arkhipov. He's the man you've probably never heard of, but to whom we all owe an incredible debt. He saved the world, not with a weapon, but with a word. No. If you found this story as incredible as I did, please give this video a like and subscribe for more hidden histories.